Hello, my name is Lewis and this is not financial advice. So you may be watching this video because you've read a book of Robert Kiyosaki's, you've maybe watched some of his videos and you're sat there wondering, why is this guy always predicting a market crash? Now let me first of all start off by saying I'm a big fan of Robert's. I love what he does, I love what he teaches. I was a student of his once upon a time and I was actually headhunted by his organization to come and teach what I know to their students around the world in both property investment and also in financial market trading. So I am a big fan of his. Now, Robert is always predicting a market crash, and there's some reasons behind that. So I'm going to look at some of those reasons in this video, but make sure you subscribe to this channel, you like, you comment, and you share this video with someone who you think may find it of use. So yes, Robert is always predicting a market crash, and maybe that is concerning you. Maybe that is something you are worried about. So I want to look into the reasons behind why Robert is saying what he's saying and some of the things you can do to protect yourself, protect your family, and make sure you're staying on the right side and investing with everything that is going on in the world right now. So yes, Robert predicts a market crash maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, maybe more. Who knows? I haven't done the research on that just yet. Now, I'm not going to say it's the boy that cried wolf because eventually Robert will be correct. I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it? If you keep saying something's going to happen, which is part of a cyclical cycle, eventually you'll be right about when that happens. So for some of the reasons, I'm going to start off with one of the more cynical views behind why Robert may be saying this. Now, this cynical view comes from the perspective of sales. So Robert runs an education company. If he can motivate people to be scared enough to buy into what he's doing, into what he's talking about, then that's a good reason for him to be constantly predicting a market crash because that makes people take action. So I'm not entirely opposed to that because if somebody is taking action, they're taking care of their finances, they're protecting themselves for the long-term future, then kind of the means justifies the end. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments. Means justifying the ends. I'm definitely getting into my A-level psychology here. Not psychology, I didn't do that. My A-level philosophy and ethics, which I think I got a C or D on, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about ethics for many reasons, but I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, do the ends justify the means? If it means that you take action and you start to take care of your finances, then I'm actually okay with that. And again, he's inevitably going to be correct at some point. Now, some of the less cynical views really rotate around what is happening in the markets right now. And it comes down to just simple market economics. What goes up must eventually come down. The market right now, at this very second, is dipping, is crashing. Crashing may be a slightly strong word, but it's definitely going down and it looks like it's going to continue to go down as well. If we look at things over the past 10 years, then we know that the market goes up, the market goes down. There's cycles of patterns of behavior in terms of how the market behaves. Now, if you're informed about what those cycles are, I'm going to talk about them now, then you're better placed to make really good investment decisions because you know around about where we are in that market cycle. So there's four main cycles. The first one is accumulation, which is basically where we've already had a dip, we've already been going down, and now we're starting to build up momentum, ready to move in an upward direction. That's where we start to see value kind of hold its place and start to move up a little bit. Then we have what's called the markup phase, and that's where we start to see rapid growth. That's basically the growth phase. That is basically the growth phase where we start to see the market moving. This is kind of called the market boom, where we start to see the value of those things start to increase. Then we have what's called distribution. So that's where it starts to level off. So we start to see after that boom, the market start to level off and kind of start to hold its value at that level. It's not really moving up much. It's not really moving down much. That is the distribution phase. Then we have the inevitable decline. So the decline of that market, the decline of whatever that cycle is, where price starts to move down, potentially in a steady way, potentially in a bit of a crash. Now, when it's a crash, it's more than just a correction. So a correction, you'll see a little dip, but a crash is where things go really, really bad and it affects things on a mass scale within society. And that's where we want to make sure you are protected from. So that's where we're kind of looking at to encourage you to take action, take control of your finances, make sure you and your families are protected when that does happen, because it is an inevitability. To keep it really simple, it's all about value. Value moving up, value staying the same, and then value declining. That is all we're talking about when we're looking at market cycles. The concern people like Robert Kiyosaki and myself have when it comes to what's going on right now in the markets is for a very long time now, things have been incredibly overvalued. The foundation of that value doesn't really seem to be there. So over COVID, we saw markets actually moving up. Yes, I know when COVID first hit, we saw a crash, a sudden dip in the market. But after that, we started to see markets actually continue to go up in value, continue to go up in price. That's doesn't really make sense. There's something else going on behind the scenes there. So we've been in this upward move. We're well past the point of due a correction or a crash within the markets. And so because we're so far past that point, Robert is calling even more so for a market crash, not calling for one, but calling one out, suggesting that it's going to happen fairly soon. And I'm very inclined to agree with him that that is something which is coming very soon. We can see rising inflation. We can see the cost of goods going up. We can see the cost of living going up, and incomes are not matching that increase. So we have all these different factors starting to come into play where we're due to see a market correction, a market crash, because all the underlying foundations which would suggest we have one coming are there. Very what's called an extended market, which means it's been a long, prolonged period of growth without a significant correction, means that we are due a correction very soon. That foundation, keeping the market very high, is really starting to crumble. People realizing it's starting to crumble, and we're starting to see that panic, which also causes the market to decline. When there's panic, when there's fear, when there's uncertainty, that's when we start to see markets decline. And that is why my mission is to equip, empower, and educate you to protect yourselves and your families in the midst of all of these different market movements. So you're always protected, you always have a way to generate income regardless of what is happening in the markets. I want to teach you to take control of your financial life. The market crash is coming. Is it going to be today? Is it going to be next week? Is it going to be in a month or 6 months' time? No one can truly know the time or the hour. However, what you can do is you can get yourself prepared. So my question to you, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments, is do you feel like you are prepared? Do you feel like you are protected, and you've protected your family as well for that inevitable crash to come? Will you be safe? Will you be okay? Will you be protected during that? So let me know in the comments, are you ready? So comment, subscribe, like this video, and share it with somebody who you think needs to listen to it as well. And I will see you in the next video.